Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are here to talk about the Summer House season 9 reunion part 1. Listen, I feel like we could have made this whole reunion one part. A concept, Andy, if you're listening. I mean, honestly, I have no clue what Bravo's obsession with multiple part reunions is, except for maybe the fact that they bought the ad space prematurely. I don't know. I know that there are a couple franchises, shows that have had reunions that are multiple parts, and they don't need to be. Now, when it comes to this season as a whole, I had fun. And you know what? That's what summer is about. That's what Summer House is about. Fun. So I really don't have any complaints there. I will say, did I feel like the Jesse and Lexie of it all was really drug out? Of course I did. Of course I did. But also, what else would we have talked about? You know? I saw someone say that the only thing they realized from part 1 and even the clips from part 2 is that maybe the Summer House crew rarely shows their actual lives. And to that I have to say, duh. I do feel like somewhere along the way we lost the recipe of like actually sharing. Maybe it's because some of these people have become bigger stars. Maybe it's because we wanted to focus on the party. I don't know. However, Summer House is still one of my favorite shows on Bravo. It's low stakes, you know what I mean? No matter what's going on, no matter what the drama is, it's usually not too serious. That's why I appreciate it. So first things first, the over dramatization of the Jesse and Lexie of it all, right? I can't buy what they're selling. I really can't. Okay. On one hand, I think Jesse is an asshole. Just to be very blunt, very honest about it. I don't care for Jesse whatsoever. I do feel like Jesse and West were kind of like promised this new era Bravo golden boy. It's so clear to me that they came in and they are being pitched to us as the new Kyle and Carl. I feel like that should be clear to everybody. And my issue with that is Kyle and Carl are Kyle and Carl, right? I don't want to see a Kyle and Carl part 2. I just want to see two different people. They are not problematic men in a large way. Do I love the way they treat women? No. I'm not going to use the term boys will be boys, right? But that feels like the crux on which they rely on. Both West and Jesse have kind of done girls dirty, right? Nothing, again, extremely problematic, but stuff that would make you text your group chat and be like, oh my God, can you believe him? Everybody would be like, what a dick. Probably make fun of, you know, some of their physical features, height when it comes to Wes, mouth when it came to Jesse. Anyways, and then move on. But my issue with that is it kind of still rewards bad behavior. But what do I expect when we have been rewarding bad behavior? Kyle treated Amanda like shit and we're still here. But when it comes to Jesse and Lexie, I think both of them are right and both of them are wrong. I cannot all the way get on what Lexie is trying to sell of you pitted me against the girls in the house. I don't believe that to be true one bit. I think that is a cop-out. I personally think that Lexie put all of her eggs in Jesse's basket. When she saw that the basket was shallow as hell, she said shit, and she starts trying to build the relationships with these girls that she thinks will make her stay. Because let's be honest, Lexie is here because she wants to be on TV. I've heard that she's a model more time than I've heard that Sierra is a model. Now, I see that Sierra is a model. And listen, don't get me wrong, before anybody starts, I'm not calling Lexie unattractive. She's very clearly a very gorgeous girl. I just automatically saw when she came on our screens like, oh, this girl wants to be a reality TV star. And y'all know I always say, anybody who's on reality TV clearly wants to be there. I just say with Lexie, I can see the sauce being made. She is trying to get us to buy the product without like selling us on the product first, right? When it comes to Jesse, I think he was extremely just attracted to her right out front. And I also think that there is truth in what she says about him when she said he mentioned, oh, Wes got so much attention last year for screwing Sierra over. For me, that would be a red flag if a guy said that. If anybody said that I was interested in dating, I'd be like, why are you telling me how much attention someone got by screwing someone over. But if you've listened to me anywhere else, you know I have a theory that Jesse and Lexie were like in a contract with each other, and at the end of the season their contract was up and they decided to get each other more airtime, and that'll be that. And the Sierra was the collateral damage. And it's hard for me, right? Because I think both Jesse and Lexie kind of dingbats. I can't say that in any better way. And I do feel like in a way Lexie is getting more heat than Jesse, because even from the cast, right, when they were talking about the toe sucking incident, everybody was laughing, everybody was brushing it off, and it was very unserious, and I get it. Lexie didn't like that. It was insulting. She wasn't there. He did it behind her back. He lied about it, and she had to find out through other people. At the same time, that toe sucking incident happened at 3 weeks of talking, of getting to know each other. In my opinion, that is a very, very, very huge thing, to where you're like, oh, I was talking to this guy for 3 weeks. He acted like he was obsessed with me, and then I found out that he got his toe sucked while I wasn't in town. I would be like, bye. Let's just be friends. Let's just call it there. But Lexie did not call it. And then at the end, she tells him and us that she actually was trying to speed her feelings up to meet him where he was at. That's what I don't understand about her. Just because someone likes you doesn't mean that you need to like them. This guy got his toe sucked and lied to you within the first 3 weeks, month, I'll give it a month of knowing each other. You said, wow, big red flag, and then you forgive him and continue to talk to him and entertain him. That's what makes me think it was a showmance and it was a mutual agreement. But then even beyond the toe suck, she said, this doesn't add up, that doesn't add up, I don't trust you, I don't trust you. It's a lot for a 6-7 week showmance, right? Again, I didn't love that everybody was laughing and making a joke out of the toe sucking, because I do think that Jesse's poor behavior gets overlooked a lot by, oh, that's just Jesse. We can't take Jesse seriously. Gabby said it best off to the side when she was like, oh, Jesse's just a boy. Nothing he does is to be taken too seriously. No, he has that Craig effect. I remember when Craig and Paige were dating, and she said, Craig lies about like little stuff. He doesn't lie about big stuff. A lie is a lie. So, okay. And here we learn now that Paige knew that Craig was lying, and she covered up for him a lot, right? In my head, if you lie about something small, you will absolutely lie about something big. The small lies are preparing you to tell the big lies. It's practice. When it comes to the Jesse, Lexie, and Sierra of it all, listen, I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, why is Sierra only mad at Lexie? At the end of the season, seemingly Sierra was fine with both Jesse and Lexie. The difference in how Jesse and Lexie have handled postseason is wildly different. Now, I don't love that Sierra seemingly lets Jesse kind of use her to play with the media and play in Lexie's face a little bit. But at the same time, she took her issues up with him in the summer house. They spoke about it. They moved forward. He didn't do any press about Sierra. Lexie, on the other hand, went on a wild press tour right before they filmed the reunion, right? And it was odd. We all were like, what is she doing? And listen, the old school vets of Bravo, of Summer House, need to get these newbies and let them know you do not have to sit down and talk into every microphone that is presented in front of you, right? Wes did it last year after his first season. Lexie is doing it this year. It's like, calm down a little bit. Leave a little bit to be desired for, especially when it comes to things like the reunion. The podcast and the interviews can definitely be the appetizer, drop little hints, but then now we get to the reunion, we know what everybody's problem is. We kind of know how it's going to play out. At least that's how I see it, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I am not buying the Jesse made me not trust you, and it's all Jesse's fault. There is an ownership, in my opinion, on Lexie's end that's just not being taken. You met Jesse and Sierra at the same time. What I cannot wrap my head around is Lexie is sitting here telling us, I don't like Jesse, right? He did me dirty. And then you hear Jesse all last summer talk about Sierra and her attitude towards West. when he did her dirty the year before, and you're saying like those things made you not trust her. Like, she got done dirty by a dude. She doesn't want to sit there and be nice with him the same way you don't want to be nice with Jesse right now. It's fine. I don't understand how, as a girl, like, she's being like, oh, it would have been nice for the girls to rally around me, be girls, 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 girls. You never need to hear that phrase again. But you are trusting a dude. You're blaming a dude on why you don't trust Sierra. Not for nothing, Sierra didn't do anything to break Lexie's trust. Therefore, Sierra does not need to get Lexie's trust back. I feel like Lexie thinks in some way, shape, or form that Sierra should earn her trust, and it's weird. When it comes to the term girls, while I didn't love that the girls were sitting there laughing about Toegate, while I don't love that the girls let Jesse off the hook all the time with like, oh, that's just Jesse, that's just Jesse. Because while he's just Jesse to y'all, he is going to be, or was, this girl's romantic interest. She does not see him in that way, and it seems like they're letting him off the hook. But I don't think that the girls did anything wrong necessarily. Paige said, I told you not to date Jesse. And Lexie says, yeah, before what? I told you not to date him. I gave you my heads up. I said, hey, if I was in your position and I saw all this and I've seen what I've seen, I wouldn't do it. And she still dated him. The girls cannot make you do anything, and technically they don't owe you anything. I stood 10 toes down back in Paige's first season when I said Lindsay was not wrong for talking to Carl, the person that she's known longer, asking him what was going on in him and Paige's pantry relationship, and he told whatever fib Carl was telling back then about him and Paige. And then Lindsay said, all right, well, if that's how you feel, then just put her on ice. Amanda or Hannah heard it, ran back upstairs and was like, Lindsay's not being a girl's girl. Lindsay's not being a girl's girl. Is she not being a girl's girl? Or was she just replying to the information that she heard from the person that she's known the longest? I don't think the girls are wrong for being like, we know Jesse really well, and like, we still gave this girl a heads up, and that's all we can do. I don't know what anybody wants from them. Lexie seemed dead set on Jesse this summer. And I get if she has some regrets about that. She didn't form any relationships. Like I said, the Jesse basket was shallow as hell. But now, instead of building those relationships with the girlies, it just kind of feels like she is trying to ignite a feud with Sierra to kind of promise a second season back so she can get more footing in the house. Now, in the reality TV game, that's totally fine. She's doing her job, right? But if you're actually trying to make relationships with these people, that ain't how to do it. I'm sorry. By the end, I was done hearing about that girl's birthday. My birthday, my birthday, my birthday. When Sierra was like, when is your birthday? When is your birthday? I was like, this is embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. And again, I think Sierra has a point. She said, last time I saw you, you told me that you didn't trust me. She tries to volley responsibility on Jesse again. But at the end of the day, same thing. The last time I saw you, you told me you didn't trust me. So why would I come to your birthday party? We're not going to build trust there, are we? And Sierra already said she don't care. She do not give a fuck. Now, I truly have no clue why we spent so much time talking about West and Sierra in this reunion. Like I said, it just shows that we really did not have all of that much to cover. But the one thing that really broke my heart was listening to Sierra talk about her family dynamic and what she was going through. When she started talking about that, I realized we have a lot of similarities when it comes to our family dynamic. I am a child of divorce. My parents broke up when I was 15, 16, and I don't talk to my dad. And my mom has been married a couple of times. So I completely understand how she was feeling and her feelings around relationships. I've always found Sierra to be so interesting because it's clear that she dates with intent. And I remember watching a interview where she said at the last reunion, she said, I'm really not out here dating like that. I just find her picks to be interesting. So Austin, West, for somebody who is dating with intent, because those are two of the most unserious men I have ever seen on my television screen. And when West said, listen, everything that you just said, everything that you said you're looking for in a partner, that's great. That wasn't going to be me. I was like, exactly. And listen, I don't know West personally. Okay, seems like a funny enough guy. Again, I'm just like, wow, you're dating with intent, but the intent pointed you to Austin and West, and at one point Luke. Interesting. But no, for real, we've all dated some losers. I just saw a lot of me when Sierra was talking, and I broke my heart in multiple ways, but I want Sierra, anybody to know that when you come from that background, right, divorced parents who they don't talk anymore and you don't talk to one of your parents, I know that sometimes we get focused on like, when I get married, I want to do it right, and I want to make sure I'm picking the right person, and I don't want to be divorced again, and I don't want to have kids and have them go through a divorce. For me personally, having been married and gone through a divorce, and not like that was never the plan. I was really embarrassed, humiliated. My mom told me like, I never wanted this for you because it's hard either way. I have changed my view on what breaking the cycle looks like, right? So maybe even if you don't ride off into the sunset and get married and stay married forever, maybe leaving before your mom left, right? Maybe if you do have kids and that kid and you and your partner break up, that kid having a relationship, a strong, healthy relationship with both of the parents, you and your partner who had the child, and you and your ex-partner having a good relationship, those are also ways to break the cycle. You know what I mean? So my heart broke for her listening to her say that. But let me tell you something. All that talking Lexie was doing in the media about Sierra, after Sierra shared and she told her like, it was really strong of you to share, I would have been like, bitch, shut up. I would have been called all types of B words. Okay, it's probably a good thing I've never been on reality TV, because people will call me all types of B words. I just don't, I don't play stuff like that. I'm kind of like Sierra, where I don't get vulnerable or emotional very often. I definitely don't really like tell my close family business often, or like, you know, things about my past. So I was just like, Lexie, girl, be quiet. I know it probably was in good faith and she was trying to be nice, but it made me roll my eyes, and I'm here to be honest with y'all. Also, kind of random, I don't like how Emerald is kind of treated as a friend of this season. As we know, he was edited out a couple times, but I want to see Emerald back next season. I would like to see Emerald back. I would like to see him maybe get another chance at showing more of himself, his personality, you know what I mean? And what I really did like about Emerald was that he said, listen, I led with, oh, I didn't come to the first weekend because of, you know, this X party, right? I led with that about myself, and it kind of stuck. And again, Lexie said like, oh, we could have asked you more questions. I hate to say he took ownership or took responsibility, because I don't think that it's all on him, but I like that he led with that, and maybe he's a little bit more open to coming back, and maybe production feels bad for how they did him, so they invite him back. I don't know. But before I get off of here, the Paige and Craig of it all, I feel like we've been talking about Paige and Craig for so long, and I will say it's interesting to see the breakup from two different perspectives, right? So we saw Southern Charm and the season that took place, and they were still together on that season. I don't know when Southern Charm filmed the last season that they had, and then we saw Summer House this season, which was obviously last summer, July to September. It's just so interesting to see where Craig was, or in what Craig was presenting during his season, and where Paige was in what she was presenting, right? We saw him one time this summer. She expressed those feelings to Sierra. We saw her break down about having those feelings to Sierra, but this is where Paige cracks me up the most, is talking about Craig and just like shitting on him, because she said, Andy, the ring did not exist. Him and his girlfriend, his new girlfriend, took my ring back in New York. How convenient. I personally did not watch Craig on Watch What Happens Live. I would rather eat this entire couch with no seasoning than watch Craig, Shep, and Austin on Watch What Happens Live. But when I saw the clip and he was looking down and so clearly lying, being like, oh yeah, I returned it to the guy today. Can you give us any other information, Craigie? Like, it's just when people don't see that he is a liar, he is a known liar. He lied about lying. He literally said, I have never once lied on camera. We have so much footage of him lying. And still, these male sympathizers that love Craig will be like, he's just a guy that's trying really hard. He's just a silly goose. Okay. Maybe that's what you would put up with. I feel bad for you. You deserve more, right? Oh my goodness. Apparently we're going to see some like secrets revealed episode after the second part of the reunion. I don't know why. I don't really know what's going on with production over there. Very, very odd. But that's all my thoughts on the Summer House Season 9 Reunion Part 1 episode. Don't forget to comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on the season, on the first part of the reunion, any of the people that we discussed. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will be back on Sunday with a new episode of the podcast. We're going to talk a little pop culture with a really fun guest, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.